Hello. It occurred to me this week that we had a fabulous holiday that we celebrated on Monday called Cesar Chavez Day.
Cesar Chavez!
And many of my friends were not aware of what Cesar Chavez Day was. And I also realized in a lot of ways it was more of a California holiday, just like I'm from Boston and we have Patriots Day, but they don't have Patriots Day out here because it wouldn't really work. But I think Cesar Chavez Day would work on both coasts. So, from the Gay and Lesbian Times, this is their definition of remembering Cesar E. Chavez. On March 31st, Cesar E. Chavez would have been 81 years old. And although he died almost 15 years ago, the impact he had is still felt. In California, there is a state holiday commemorating Chavez's birthday, and there is some talk of a national holiday. Many people, though, don't know who Cesar E. Chavez is or why he is so important to Latinos, the gay and lesbian, bi, transgender community, and the United States. On March 31st, 1927, Cesar was born to a farming family. During the Great Depression, when Cesar was only 10 years old, his family lost its farm near Yuma, Arizona, and was forced to become migrant laborers, eventually settling in Delano, California. Cesar attended 38 different schools and finally gave up after finishing 8th grade, when he began working full-time in the fields. After a stint in the military, Cesar returned to California and got married in 1946. In 1942, he began working as an organizer for the Latino Civil Rights Group, the Community Service Organization, CSO. During his time with the CSO, he recruited Latinos to register and vote and traveled throughout California advocating for laborers' rights. He became the CSO National Director in the late 1950s. In the early 1960s, Cesar formed the United Farm Workers Association. In 1965, the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, a mostly Filipino union, went on strike when the Delano grape growers cut pay rates during the harvest. Cesar asked his organization to join the strike and quickly became its leader. The strike encouraged all Americans to boycott table grapes in support of the effort, and this union eventually evolved into the United Farm Workers. Hundreds of students, religious workers, and labor activists across the country talked to consumers in front of markets, asking them to help by not buying grapes. At its height, more than 13 million Americans supported the Delano grapefruit boycott. The strike lasted 5 years and gained the support of many prominent Americans, resulting in the first major labor victory for migrant workers. Cesar was successful at overcoming odds and defined the struggle as one of nonviolence and grassroots support. He was successful at reclaiming dignity for people who were marginalized by society. What had started as the Delano grape strike came to be known as La Causa, which means the cause. And if you speak proper Spanish, I'm sorry for destroying that word. Cesar placed harsher demands on himself than on anyone else in the movement. In 1968, he fasted, the first of several fasts during his lifetime, to recommit the movement to nonviolence. The fast marked the beginning of Cesar's national political presence. Presidential candidate Robert Kennedy went to Delano to break bread with Cesar at the end of his fast. Cesar responded by committing his union to campaign for Kennedy in the California primary, helping Kennedy's margin of victory in California. Throughout the years, the UFW has become a significant political force, demonstrating that Mexican Americans can and will participate in electoral politics when their concerns are at stake. What Cesar started more than 40 years ago led to the election of thousands of Latino officials and a major shift in the American political landscape. Cesar was also successful at formulating a diverse and national coalition of students, middle-class consumers, trade unionists, religious groups, Latinos, Filipinos, Native Americans, Jews, blacks, gays, and lesbians. In the 1970s, before gays were publicly accepted, he spoke strongly for LGBT rights at gay rights rallies and marches. His views on equality remained strong and uncompromising as he spoke at the March on Washington in 1987. He was quoted saying, "Our movement has been supporting lesbian and gay rights for over 20 years. We supported lesbian and gay rights when it was just a crowd of 10 people." Cesar died peacefully in his sleep in San Luis, Arizona in 1993. President Clinton awarded the Medal of Freedom, the nation's biggest civilian honor, to Cesar's widow in 1994. So I felt like we should honor such a great man here at Say What, since we kind of do that here.
Hail Caesar!
Yay!